This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. It is Friday, September 12th of 2025. We are seeing a bit more of summer sticking around. We were hoping to maybe get some of that cooler football weather to stick around, but we're still taking what we can get, and we are so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I'll be talking with AgriGold Agronomist Steve Schany, based here in Iowa, about hybrid selection and how that can set you up for success in a given crop year. We'll also have a check of the closing markets and the September WASDE report with Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. But first, here's my conversation with Steve Schany, AgriGold Agronomist. When it comes to mitigating risk for a given crop season, proper hybrid selection is key, and AgriGold has a highly diverse seed portfolio. Producers can more easily pick a specific hybrid from that lineup that works from their farm.
When you think about all the challenges farmers face today, mitigating risk is a big one. You know, we all want to make sure that we select the best hybrid year in and year out, but oftentimes year to year environments change. It can be challenging to hit the nail on the head every single time. So having a diverse portfolio is a big deal to AgriGold, but what is probably the biggest deal is making sure that our customers can access high performing genetics that come from a diverse gene pool. And we utilize Field GX to help farmers select and make sure they have some diversity out in the field. And it's been a great tool, one of the best in the industry, I'd say.
Schany said there's an intense selection process that each hybrid goes through before it's made available to producers.
Yeah, so we utilize a system called pre-commercial research. And what we do is we have a diverse set of competitive internal checks, but also external checks. Within that testing group, we're testing multiple new hybrids from all sources of different genetic global germplasm breeding programs out there today. And we're testing against our own stuff as well. So not only does the products that make it into an AgriGold bag have to perform, they have to beat the best of the best, essentially. So no matter if it's our breeding program, other breeding programs out in the world, we're set up to kind of make sure that we have a very robust portfolio and one that is very competitive and performs. So very rigorous, ruthless subjectivity is kind of our theme here on the product team. And we make sure that when it does land in an AgriGold bag, it truly is going to be one of those that perform.
And when compared to other competitors on the market, Schany said they found that the AgriGold seed portfolio has a 9.5 bushel yield gain for the 2026 class.
Yeah, so, I talked about that pre-commercial research program. We've got a good set of competitive checks that are currently launched and in a bag. So those products are being compared against any new class that we do bring in. And when we compared against last year's launch class, those competitive checks fell behind 9.5 bushels, which is a huge bump as we bring in these new products that they're giving to our portfolio. So not necessarily saying that these products are 9.5 bushels better than the product they're planting, but it's giving us a bump of 9.5 bushels above our current portfolio today. So great thing to have in any lineup, but really exciting, especially when you think about a similar stat from last year was actually 9.4. So we were able to top that even just a little bit going into this next year.
That again was AgriGold Agronomist Steve Schany. We'll take a look at the closing markets next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. We're here now with Sam Trainor of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Sam, it was that time of the month today with the WASDE report. A very interesting one, especially when it comes to the market reactions. What did we see from that report?
Yeah, very interesting report today. Saw a lot of movement in the grain markets today as far as price is concerned. Really, with this report, not a whole lot changed on the overall balance sheet as far as ending stocks, but a lot of numbers swapping places there. As far as corn here, we saw that acres were increased yet again here. Another 1.4 million acres planted here is what the USDA is telling us after today's report. That was offset, though, by 2.1 bushel per acre lower national yield. And then they also increased demand again, up 100 million bushels. We were already sitting at a record export forecast coming into the report. So you add on another 100 million bushels. It's going to be an awfully lofty target to hit, but we'll definitely take it because that's going to help demand here going forward. Soybeans was a little bit of a different picture here. Saw increased acres there, up 200,000 acres month over month, and then saw a slight reduction to yield, down just a tenth of a bushel. Then also, rather than finding more exports on the soybeans, we actually lost a little bit more, down 20 million bushels on exports, and that's mainly due to China being absent from sales up to this point, and USDA is looking at that as concerning and thinking they're probably not coming to the table anytime soon. So need to revise that export target for us.
And then when it comes to the market reaction and kind of the further digestion of it, I know today's reaction was somewhat confusing, or maybe not even confusing, but unexpected. Moving forward, how do we expect the markets to kind of process that news and then more adequately adjust?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the reaction was kind of confusing to us because we came into the report with a lot of optimism. Markets were higher, both corn and soybeans. Soybeans were trading about a dime higher, corn up about a nickel. And then right immediately after that report came out, both contracts sold off and came right back around unchanged, which is not necessarily surprising based on the numbers we saw. Obviously, you increase acres by corn that much and you lower the demand on soybeans. Definitely not a surprise to see them take away those gains initially. But after the traders were able to digest those numbers, about 20 minutes after that report came out, you started to see the funds come back in and buy both corn and soybeans. They started with soybeans, ran that higher, and then corn caught steam later on in the day, and they both finished near the highs of the day. So very impressive to see the market kind of shake off those numbers earlier on. And I think what that tells us is that the trade is still looking at a yield lower than what the USDA is telling us. They did reduce yield a little bit today, but I think the trade was expecting a little bit more. And as we go down the line, we'll see those yield estimates come down further along. It's not out of the question for the USDA to kind of slow play these yield adjustments as we get through fall.
All right, and then over on the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs trade today?
Had another negative day in the cattle and hog market here today. Live cattle and feeder cattle both have had a rough week here. Live cattle futures are about $6 lower on the week. Feeder cattle were over $10 lower on the week. And, I think this is just kind of taking the wind out of the sails on this market. It's been no surprise that this market just keeps going higher and higher and higher. And the fundamentals haven't necessarily changed. No real big headlines out there that is going to change why we've been higher here. But with as much as we've gone up over the last, 12 to 18 months, really, we have room to have quite a bit of a pullback here and still maintain the uptrend that we've had in place. So I think that's what this market is doing, is just correcting itself after a lot of continued buying here over the last, like I said, 12 to 18 months. It's just been a never-ending bull market, really.
All right, Sam, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with the team, how can they do that?
Best way would be to visit our website at agmarket.net or you could give me a call here in Normal at 1-800-779-1515.
All right, great talking with you as always, Sam. We will look forward to more analysis soon.
All right, thanks a lot, Riley. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, well, that again was Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers closed through the market window at iowaagnet.com. At the close, December corn up 10 1/4 at 4.30 even. November soybeans up 12 3/4 at 10.46 1/4. October soybean meal up $1.50 at 2.8760. Soybean oil up 59 cents at 51.67. Chicago wheat up 2 even at 5.23 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat up 4 3/4 at 5.14 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 1/4 cent at 5.71 3/4. December oats up 1 3/4 at 3.19 3/4. On the Merc, October live cattle down 2.30 at 229.97. September feeders down 4.82 at 3.50.40. October lean hogs down $1.05 at 97.12. Pork cutout went unchanged at 103.10. And September Class 3 milk down 2 cents at 17.58. That's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM, and that also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell when those videos go live. Check out as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pods of Potential. Find those on your favorite podcasting services at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Adi Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.